And I'm going to talk a little about securitization, mortgage-backed securities, even though it's not one of the more fun topics. But basically, what used to be a bank owning your home is now a trust owning your home. And the trust is normally comprised of about 5,000 mortgages that were put together into a product for sale by securities companies. And there are between, I say, 2,000 and 10,000 of these trusts. 2,000 is a real low end, probably more like 4,000 and 10,000 of these trusts. The reason we don't know exactly how many, even if we went on the SEC website and counted every one, is because many of the trusts are privately owned and don't have to register with the SEC. So there is no good number about how many there are. In my studies of how many trusts used forged and fraudulent documents made from document mills, I identified 2,000. So I know there are probably many, many more that I haven't gotten to yet, that I haven't found examples of yet, but I keep looking when I have nothing to do in the evening. The other important thing to know about that debt, though, is that it is backed by government entities. So these homes were insured by Fannie and Freddie and private insurance companies. And when they went into default, many, many times, the trust simply went to the insurance company and said, hey, these people didn't pay, give us our money, give us our $200,000 for this property. The only thing that the insurance company required, besides the foreclosure, was proof and certification that the trust actually owned the property. And were they able to come up with proof that they owned the mortgages? Sure, because they were making them in Alpharetta, Georgia. They had plenty of people sitting there signing their name all day making up these documents. So to understand that whole picture, if you understand securitization, you have to understand that these documents that we're going to be talking about are not only used to throw people out of their houses, but they're used for insurance claims, so that the trust can go to their insurance companies and can go to the government and say, give us our millions and millions of dollars because we foreclosed, we insured, we foreclosed, and we have proof that we own the mortgage. And this is the proof that we now know is just a total fabrication. I can't say fraud too many times in one presentation because it gets boring. Fabrication, fraud, lie, cheat, scheme. The last sentence on this page says consider.
Say that again because it's something that I've been trying to grasp for a long time. So basically, the folks that owned the mortgage, they had insurance on the mortgage, and so they got reimbursed for that.
Yes.
And so that's what was driving a lot of this?
Well, it was, it drove some of this, but what really drove it, and I'll save a lot of this for the end, but what really drove it is the securitization process itself was so lucrative for the securities companies and banks that long after there were enough loans to continue the supply so that they could make more and more trusts and sell them to more and more investors and pension funds, and Lisa will tell you how many of these trusts are owned by the city of West Palm Beach or by Palm Beach County. They wanted to make more of these products. They were making money. This is where all the money was, up front. Deutsche, Goldman Sachs, they were making money making these loans. They were running out of people and mortgages to buy, and that's when they started saying, you know what, we're not going to look quite so hard about what your credentials are before we give you a loan for this property. One of my favorite people on the face of the earth, everybody who doesn't know, this is Lisa Epstein, my co-presenter. Lisa, there you go. So at that point, and this is what's called origination or securitization fraud, where the Goldmans or the Deutsches used to say to the option ones, the Countrywide, the New Century mortgage companies, we're going to require that a certain percentage of the loans you sell to us are underwritten, and that just is an insurance or mortgage term for investigated, to make sure that the borrower is telling the truth. And you're only lending to people who've been in the community for 10 years or who have a credit score of 650 or higher, or any of the other things that would make this a fairly decent investment. But what really happened once the demand outstripped the production is that lot of liar loans happen. You've heard them called liar loans. Sometimes they're called stated value loans, stated income loans. How much do you earn, Lynn Szymoniak? Why, I earn $750,000 a semester. Okay, good. Just put your name on a piece of paper. They're never going to check to see that Nova University was only paying me $30,000 a semester. So at that point, all of these, and these are the cases you do see prosecuted now, where the yard man who said he had an income of $400,000, the little guys, who was encouraging these people, the straw buyer loans, everybody else who was making money from the closings, the developers who were making money from selling fancy units out in Wellington to the people who had no real income or no real assets and wouldn't have qualified in any. So some more background on foreclosures. Banks foreclosed on more than 1 million homes in the United States in 2010. 3 million homes have been foreclosed since 2007. The predictions for by the end of 2012, I never know who to believe on these. The Center for Responsible Lending, who is that? I don't know. It could be our friends at Wells Fargo. Is 9 million foreclosures by then. Credit Suisse says 8.1 million. Realty Track, who I never believe, says 10 million. So it's between 8 and 10 million foreclosures by the end of 2012. 5 states, this is important, have over 50% of all foreclosures. California being number 1, 1.8 million foreclosures. Florida, 1.4 million. Then Arizona, Illinois, and Texas, and you'll see these other states that are also hard hit. So when we're talking about the problem, yes?
Did you say between 8 to 10 million additional?
No, that'll be the total number from 2009 to 2012. And there are plenty of people who believe it's going to be a lot higher than that. If you ever read anything Michael Olenek, who's also local and part of our group, writes, he believes that the inventory is much higher than that. Another background piece before I get into this fraud. Big bank homeowners. If you turn to this page, nobody has seen this yet. I only did this research in the last 10 days. It turns out that a wonderful source for research is the property appraiser in each county. And in Florida, you can do every single county online. So you go into the property, hello Lynn. So you go into the property appraiser's website and you enter, you search, and you hit the little search button, which in Palm Beach County is up in the left-hand corner, and you search by name. And I just put in Deutsche Bank to see how many homes Deutsche Bank owns. Then I did Bank of America, Fannie, Freddie, Wells, and what I found in Palm Beach County, as of January 24th, Wells Fargo owns the most homes, 551 over there. Bank of America, 497. Our third largest owner of homes in Palm Beach County is Deutsche Bank, 454. Then Fannie Mae, then Bank of New York. Why is Bank of New York, why is Bank of America and Bank of New York on this list? Bank of America bought Countrywide, the worst decision the bank ever made, and Countrywide was probably the worst of all of the huge lenders, although it's quite a contest. If you consider New Century, Long Beach, there are some other players in there. But Bank of New York is in there because they are the trustee for almost all of the Countrywide trusts. So you'll see something, the name of a trust will be something very exotic when you first look at it. Seawalt, 2005-4T. That means Seawalt, Countrywide Alternative Loan Trust. That's shorthand for that. But who is the trustee for all of the Seawalt and Seawats, all those Countrywide trusts? Bank of New York. And that's why they are named on the list. That's because so many of the Countrywide loans are the ones that are defaulting.